Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to episode 36 of the Middle-Aged Outlaws podcast. And Adam, I've never asked you this before, so this is a little bit groundbreaking, but life, what do you think of it? It's a bit of a deadly game, wouldn't you say?
I think that's one way of saying it. Yeah. That's. I was going to say nice segue, but it wasn't really a segue. But
it also wasn't nice. Do you know what else is a deadly game?
What's that?
Basing your whole pay-per-view around the Big Boss Man.
I feel like I'm going to have a few things to apologise for as we go, but we'll see.
Listen, you play deadly games and you wait to see what the results are. And this time I feel it paid off for Vince Russo and company. But we'll get there. We'll get into it. So we're discussing the 1998 Survivor Series. We never managed to get round to this point in time in 1998 when we did our little adventure of 1998. So it was nice to visit it, nice to come back, visit an old friend. Yeah. And this was your choice.
This was my choice. I feel like I was on a really good run, and then, mixed bag. Yeah.
No, I'll be straight up. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. So
awesome.
So awesome. Before we get into it, let's talk about when this happened. November 1998. Normally, I like to tell you about some interesting things that happened, but there's not much happened in November 1998. It was pretty dry as far as interesting things going on, but I've got a couple of things, and of course we've got the music as well. So
once you're done, I'll tell you a personal one that'll fill the void.
Nice. Yeah. Maybe we should do this for every pay-per-view we do. Get a little personal anecdote from you.
Yeah, it's easy for this one. Might be tougher for other ones, but we can try.
Okay, so we'll start on a negative note. 51-year-old Giant Haystacks passed away in November 1998.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised to see that he was only 51. I don't really remember Giant Haystacks, but I'm sure he's like a bit of a UK wrestling legend.
Yeah, I'm surprised he was as young as that in 98. Yeah.
On a more positive note, Dennis Rodman and Carmen Electra tied the knot.
Yeah,
nothing to say
good
about
for
that.
them.
Okay.
They deserved each other. I don't know.
Film premieres. We've talked about such big film premieres coming out when we've talked about pay-per-views before. Jurassic Park. We talked about Avengers films. Shakespeare in Love premiered.
Okay.
November 1998. Went on to win Best Picture Oscar, I believe. I'm sure it's a great film. Never seen it.
I've never seen it either. No.
We're more Jurassic Park kind of guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Proud of it too.
Aye, absolutely. So, before I do our UK and US number ones, do you want to hit me with your personal November 98 anecdote?
So, November 1998, I turned 18, and I was on a night out with some of my pals from college in Kirkcaldy, and I voluntarily climbed into a shopping trolley, which one of them then, it could have been accidental, could have been deliberate, don't know, lost control of, and it went down a couple of steps. But one of the steps was quite deep. So as it went down that step, it toppled over. So I took a tumble in the trolley. Now, it probably would have hurt like hell, but I was very relaxed at that point in the night. So I didn't really feel an awful lot. I would be a wee bit sore the next day. But I took a tumble in a shopping trolley.
Nice. I'm picturing the scene from The Untouchables, where the baby's pram goes down the stairs in slow motion.
I mean, probably a little less dramatic, because I think I was always going to be relatively okay, but it did topple over. So yeah.
Taking bumps, Foley style. So here we go. Are you going to guess for me this time? UK number one and US number one. You're 18. in the prime of your life, you must remember what was going on.
I worry I've been here before because I was thinking I'm thinking things like just like after Britpop had faded, because I think that was maybe a little bit gone by this point. But
Yep.
But then there would be some proper bands around, but then there would also be some boy bands and girl bands and stuff like that. Oh no! It's none of this. All the clues. I'm getting so many clues. Could it be something like dance or? Nah, you're gonna have to tell me.
Okay. Well, UK number one was Cher with Believe.
Okay. With all the auto tune. Okay.
Yep. Inspired a generation of rappers. And
Yeah.
US number one was Lauryn Hill, Do Wop That Thing. I want to say that's been number one before when we've.
That's it. Yeah, because I remember it. She was huge, wasn't she, with that sort of debut album? Mm-hmm. Maybe it was another song from that or something like that. But yeah, I remember that. I remember both songs, I have to say.
You're a big Cher fan.
Mate, who isn't?
So, well, indeed. So there we go. A bit anticlimactic, but do you know what's not anticlimactic? This tournament to decide the new WWF Heavyweight Champion.
Right.
Shall we get into it?
We can. I did do a little bit of digging beforehand because I was thinking, how did the title become vacant?
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you've also looked into this. So you can basically correct me if I get any of this wrong, because I remember writing some notes and then thinking, I'll just kind of wing half of it. But yeah, it would seem that the title was vacated largely due to this whole McMahon, Austin, Undertaker and Kane situation. There was a triple threat, a breakdown, I want to say, where Kane and Undertaker weren't allowed to pin each other in the rules, but they simultaneously pin Austin. So there is no one champion off the back of that. I have memories of this, what happened on Raw, I think, straight after that, which was McMahon holding a title ceremony where he was going to name the new champion. And I think there's all these like security around or something like that. And Austin managing to, did he jump over people or something like that to basically get to McMahon and give him a little bit of a going over. And McMahon is angry at Undertaker and Kane for failing to protect him. So as this is where it lost me a little bit as I was reading up on it. So as a punishment, he keeps the title vacant, sets up a title match between Undertaker and Kane for Judgment Day,
So I did again where I lost you. I think. So you, sorry, because I lost you there for a second. You were talking about what happened after Raw. Sorry.
Yeah. So there's a anger by McMahon that Kane and Undertaker didn't help protect him and the title. So he orders them to face each other for the title. I think they're aligned at this point, so they don't particularly want to be going up against each other. But Austin is named as a special guest ref, and he will be fired if he doesn't count the fall and raise the hand of the winner. Yep. So in this match, Austin attacks Kane and Undertaker, counts them both out before declaring himself the winner and the new champ. And McMahon follows through on his promise to fire Austin. We then, I think, go to the Raw where Austin holds McMahon at gunpoint.
Yeah, actually, bang 316.
And McMahon pisses himself. And Austin has a bit of paper. I think, is it maybe Shane that signed it? I think that comes up later on. So it's a fake gun. It just has the word bang. And it's a 5-year contract for Austin on that bit of paper that guarantees him a title shot. Undertaker and Kane are going to have buys to the second round in the tournament where they will face each other. And yeah, I think that pretty much brings us to the event.
beautifully summed up. Well played.
Thanks.
Shane playing babyface, splitting off from his dad. I don't know if Shane was on. Was Shane on TV before this?
I think so. I don't know how prominently, but I think so.
And he obviously, as we get into it, he plays quite a prominent role in the end of this whole tournament.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that deadly game theme. I can't get it out of my head. I literally can't get it out of my head. Every time I think of this pay-per-view, I just think this goddamn song. Jim Johnson, you I don't know what.
Is it supposed to be a good thing when something like that gets stuck in your head? It probably is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely one that sort of sticks with you. I think just the whole. If ever I think of this pay-per-view, I think of Deadly Game as opposed to Survivor Series. It's a very different Survivor Series to what we're used to.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sometimes tournaments I find can get a little bit repetitive. Certainly King of the Rings sometimes. I think I like the idea of them, and then you watch them and you're just a bit like, again.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm the same. I like the idea of them, and then when you get into the reality of them, and so often you'll have either a match with an actual contender and a nobody, or two guys that are basically just, you've just got to get through it, and then they're going to be fodder for somebody later on in the tournament. And every single tournament we've watched, and we've watched a few, there's always a match that doesn't happen to clear a path or give a bit of storyline for things like that. But it's a good thing, because there would just be far too many matches. And there's a hell of a lot of matches on this card.
There is, and you remarked on it. You said to me something like, is there a match that goes over 4 minutes? And I think like it works. You know, like it doesn't. There's no matches that overstay their welcome. So, let's start with Mankind, and we get. I think we get a little video package, and it's so funny seeing a video package where it's hyping a tournament for a title, and it's got Al Snow and Jeff Jarrett in it. It's good funny, Boss Man.
Yeah, I mean, Boss Man had so many chances, but we'll get into that. I must have been watching during this era, because I remember a lot of it quite well. But this must be right when the Stooges are pretty prominent for Vince as well. So we've got Patterson and Briscoe are part of this, but then so Slaughter, he's quite involved. He's in and around, and at this point in time as well, Vince is. I can't remember what injury it was. He's being wheeled about in a wheelchair.
Ironside. Why is he in a motorised wheelchair? But he's got Patterson pushing him about. That's funny.
And it's very clear early on that Mankind is a man that Vince would be happy with seeing win this tournament, making us champion. He even goes with he's doing some intros, Vince, for this opening match. And I think he does a one full step for man, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And then we're going to have Vince talking up Mankind's mystery opponent.
Yes. And he gives him quite the introduction. Talks about him having records in WWF before he tried his hand in the WCW or whatever it was that McMahon does. So very first match, Mankind's mystery opponent is Dwayne Gill.
Yeah, refers to him as
like Pasadena Tigers.
The man, the myth. This must have been before they made him into this Gilbert comedy mocking Goldberg character. But yeah, he says things like charismatic, a win-loss record that sets new standards. And natural athlete, and then I think this must be the first time that they do it time and time again. He gets a little fright because he gets a little pyro on his entrance that scares him.
That's good, pure comedy. And Mankind is wrestling in a tuxedo, and he's had a haircut and I think a beard trim, that sort of stuff. I think I've got it written in my notes further on, but it's pretty much set out for the start that he's playing this sort of like good-natured simpleton sort of character.
Yeah, and it's
like
odd
perfectly.
because he I think we're used to him being this sort of unhinged sort of character, but it kind of, he's kind of a heel by association here, because you can separate what he is getting out of this from what he believes is like this father-son relationship with Vince. And I think he calls him dad at a point. And, but he almost, even though he's in a kind of a heel role, it's really sympathetic in a way, because it's almost like this is happening to him rather than him making all this happen.
Aye. It's kind of like you poor sod, you don't realise what's going on, sort of
Yeah.
thing. When Vince is reeling off all these accolades about Gilbert, and he's sat at the side of the ring, Foley appears sort of behind him, hanging through the second ropes, kind of like a chilling with dad sort of vibe as well.
Brilliant.
You're right.
Brilliant.
Like, you feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's fair for us to talk, like previous. Certainly, the last pay-per-view we looked at was that NXT pay-per-view New Orleans, and we're talking about 5-star matches and that. We're not going to get this.
Yeah. It's a different kind of show. Yeah.
100%. It's, when, we take the piss and McMahon says we make movies here and all that sort of stuff. This has to be looked at like sort of across the piece, like you're watching a full thing rather as taking individual little bits and pieces. And I think as a full thing, it all works.
Yeah.
If you're sitting critiquing each match, then you're going to think it's dog shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
It works.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is like a 2-second match.
Yeah.
Poor Dwayne Gill's fed to the wolves, double arm DDT, and it's over.
Yeah.
Although Mankind does do like an amateur wrestling roll up, which I quite liked. So really random. JR's quite intrigued by it.
I don't think I've ever seen him do anything like that. It made it funny. I don't know, with the ease of which he's won the match. He's gone for that kind of cover. Yeah, made it funny.
So that's Mankind progressed to the next round. We go to some footage of Jacqueline, who at this point is our WWF Women's Champion, attacking Sable in the ring with a bit of help from Mark Mero, who they two seem to be aligned. And quite cringe inducing. JR describes it as a drive-by-like manoeuvre, which is
yeah.
There's nothing drive-by anyway. So that's I think that's setting us up for like the big match on this card, Jacqueline versus Sable.
Yeah.
So from there we go to our next first round match, which is Double J, Jeff Jarrett with Deborah McMichaels, who I think is relatively newly signed to the company and aligned with Jeff Jarrett. Was she with Jeff Jarrett in WCW?
I'm not actually sure. I don't know. I know that Jarrett was briefly part of the Horsemen and she was associated with the Horsemen, but then that was probably while McMichael was in them. So, yeah, maybe I'm not sure.
He's taken on Al Snow, who... Do you notice King is still quite raging about Al Snow being in the WWF throughout this match?
Yeah, it comes across pretty clearly.
He's still bitter. And it's at this point that I first noticed, says a lot about this match, I first noticed in the front row there's 3 guys dressed as Kane, Mankind and Goldust.
Yes.
Did you notice?
Yeah, I did. I don't think I noticed them during this match.
The guy dressed as Goldust keeps doing the thing.
Yeah. You'd have to commit to the part if you're doing it.
He really does. He's class. I was watching it with my son and he was like, "There's Kane." I was like, "What? Where?" Oh, aye, so it is.
Brilliant.
I don't have many notes for this. I've pretty much went, oh yeah, there's Kane, Goldust, Mankind in the front row, and then I went straight to the finish.
Yeah, I've got...
Jeff gives Al head is one of the things that I've got. Yeah.
I've got a couple of bits and pieces.
Okay.
They've got... Al Snow actually gets a really good reaction from the crowd. And if you remember way back from when we looked at some of the ECW stuff, like especially that main event he was in with Shane Douglas, like the crowd were so into Al Snow. Yeah. they sort of talk about the fact, which will become clearer reason for later, that Head is wearing Socko as a headband. And there's some little bits and pieces of wrestling breaking out here. It's not a classic, but it was fine. Spinebuster by Jarrett, Snow with a DDT. Just a few moves here and there. Because both these guys, I think, know how to work in a ring. We've got Jarrett. Yeah, I think this is basically where we're going to finish, isn't it? Jarrett with
it distracts a ref.
Yeah, Jarrett. I've got has Head rather than Snow has the guitar. Snow swings and misses. Jarrett connects with Head. The ref takes the guitar away as Jarrett goes again, but Al Snow catches him. Snow strikes Jarrett with Head. Al Snow moves on to face Mankind. Deborah looked really pissed off. She played that quite well. Yeah, she just looked absolutely furious.
Brilliant.
I mean, again, it's one of these, you sort of touched on it earlier, it's a first round match. You know going into this, neither of these guys are going to be, I think, winning the belt here. And it just sort of serves a purpose.
And I don't know if you've listened to Bruce Pritchard's podcast on this, but he gets quite fuming about JR referring to Head as being a wooden head.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, he did say that.
He's got that wooden mannequin head. It's like, no, mannequins are made of wood, JR.
Oh, JR.
Anyway, we go to Boss Man next round. Next match of the first round, Big Boss Man. They are the corporation at this point, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it's maybe still to fully take off, but yeah, it's certainly in the process of being started up.
I think they refer to him as Mr. McMahon's head of security. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And he's taking on Stone Cold, and the pop for Stone Cold is amazing, ridiculous, just amazing.
The thing is, this happened on every show. It's just it didn't seem to wear off.
No.
Every time I hear it, I'm just like, wow, because you don't hear that for 99% of performers or anything close to it. It's crazy.
That's class. Again, I think this must be quite short.
Mm-hmm.
Look to see how long this one is. It must be Steve Austin 3 minutes. Again, it serves its purpose. As I think Austin's straight in. They're straight brawling. I've got Big Bubba hits him with a low blow. I don't know why I'm referring to him as that. And he takes over. Then we keep getting this sort of split screen, seeing Vince and like you say, the Stooges, Big Slots standing there gurning in the background, enjoying himself.
I'm not sure how I feel about the name Big Slots, but I'll get used to
it. Basically, no much happens in this match until Boss Man grabs his nightstick and starts going to town and gets disqualified. And once he gets disqualified, he goes even farther to town, and JR is raging.
Yeah.
He is. You know what it gets like with Stone Cold. Yeah, he's not happy with this treatment that the Boss Man's given to Texas Rattlesnake.
His boy Austin. Yeah, we get a little backstage segment after as well, with McMahon being I think it's Michael Cole. Is it Michael Cole doing it?
It is, yeah. No frosted tips at this point.
Yeah, McMahon's asked about Austin advancing. He's like, you call that advancement? And McMahon kind of warns that there is more to come tonight for Austin. It's going to be tough for Stone Cold to win this tournament, I tell you.
Have you ever seen him looking more smug?
He's good at that, though.
Yeah, he is. So then we go next match of the first round. We've got X-Pac, who I want to say is European light heavyweight.
I think maybe. Yeah, I can't remember which one. He had a belt.
He had a belt, and they're rocking at this point in time they're rocking the classic green and black American football style Suck It 69 t-shirts.
Nice.
And he is facing... I've got William Regal here, but I think it might be... He's a real man's man.
It's Stephen Regal.
Stephen Regal.
It's the real man's. I've got in my notes... Firstly, I've got winner here will face Austin in the quarterfinals. Then I've got, oh my God, it's the man's man, Stephen Regal. We've been told he was carnival fighting from age 16.
I totally started laughing at that. I was like, he's English, so yes, he's been fighting in carnivals. I've got, I can't believe it's 1998 and this is his gimmick. Like, he's coming out in a hard hat and high vis. Is he wearing a high vis vest or is it?
Yeah, it's something like that. And I remember, I can't think how quickly they moved on from this, but I mean, he's like a proper, good wrestler and all that. This was never going to work.
He's a real man's man. I think he got sacked not that long after this.
Okay.
And didn't return until about 2000.
Then he comes back as William Regal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that JR mentioned here, X-Pac's only 26 at this point.
That seems crazy.
It
seems like he's been there, he's been away and had a little, NWO run. And then he's been back a wee while by this point as well. That just seems crazy.
That's mad. There's a point in this where JR he's referring to Blackpool as in where Regal's from, but he says Blackman. And King says, whatever you're on, you need to cut the dosage. JR doesn't appreciate this too much. We get a little bit of wrestling in this match.
Yeah,
which you'd expect, kind of, with these two.
It's a match. To be honest, if I heard they'd faced each other, I'd think I'd watch that. That'd be a decent match and a total contrast of styles and all that. Because you've got Regal's going for a lot of submissions, and I think they talk about that. They talk about his background in that kind of wrestling, and we know X-Pac will be going for a lot of kicks, a lot of fast-paced, high-flying moves and things like that. I did wonder if out with a tournament environment they could maybe have had a pretty good match, the two of them.
Yeah. In kayfabe, what is the Bronco Buster? Like, just his bum like bouncing up and down your chest.
I think so. Yeah,
it's this really shit move.
It seems like it would have really minimal impact on you.
I suppose because that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, your legs are kind of going through and you're just kind of, I don't know, get a really light guy just bouncing up and down a little bit. Yeah.
It's a weird move. I wonder, like, the origins. I'm going to have to type that into YouTube. The origins of the Bronco Buster. Like somebody big doing it, like I don't know, well, maybe no viscera, but like a bigger gentleman doing it, I can understand, but not a guy that looks like, he weighs not very much at all. So, yeah, like you've said there, they do have a fairly decent kind of wrestling match. I've got, there's a nice submission counter by X-Pac here, but I've got literally no other note to describe that, so that's not much use to anybody. And Regal does a really sort of horrible looking butterfly suplex off the top rope, but it just kind of looks like he launches him by his arms.
I've not got all that many like detailed notes either, to be honest. I've got stuff about some stretches, some counters, things like that. Head scissors. Not a huge amount of detail.
Okay. So they end up on the outside. They sort of start brawling. Fastest 10 count you've ever heard in your life?
Yeah.
Easily. It must have been 3 or 4 seconds they were out there.
Yeah.
But the bell rings. They've both been double counted out, which is a tournament classic. Vince is unhappy because, of course, this gives Austin a bye. So he sends big slots out there to go for overtime. And X-Pac is not up for overtime and just keeps walking out.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was planned or unplanned or if he's legitimately hurt or whatever, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I assume they were supposed to have this moment in that Austin is going to get a bye. I mean, is Slaughter the commissioner here? Sorry, Big Slots.
think
And
so,
he seems to have absolutely no authority. I mean, people are just like, nah, you're all right. And then, X-Pac's like, I don't want to be in this tournament for the title anymore. I'm done.
I'm out. There's even refs coming out to help him. They're just like, we understand your problems. We'll help you. So neither of these men go forward, and Austin gets a bye to the semis. Yeah, semi-finals.
Right to semis. Quarters. Oh yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah, he gets by at the semis. He skips the quarters. Yeah.
Okay, next up, so we're flying through these tournament matches, just like Vince Russo planned.
They did. Yeah.
Shamrock Intercontinental Champion, looking fucking ripped, against Goldust. I want to see these throughout 1998 when we'd been watching. These two seem to be involved with each other quite a lot.
Yeah, it definitely happened a lot. Yeah, I'm a big Shamrock guy. I always was. Not so sure if it would be if his comeback happened now rather than many years ago, but yeah, there was always something about him.
I've written, funny you say that about a few years later, because I've written here in sort of ruthless aggression area. I feel like Shamrock could have been a legitimate contender, believable legitimate contender, with the Angles and Jerichos and Benoits and all that. Yeah.
It's funny because I've actually got the words in my notes. I love Shamrock, so aggressive and so believable. So,
nice.
Yeah.
I was confused by this match because both of them look gassed after like 30 seconds action. They look knackered. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but I was surprised with that with Shamrock because I don't really remember that being a thing. And we've seen him have some quite long matches. We've seen him like with The Rock in quite long matches before. Yep. I just don't ever remember that really being a thing. But yeah, I think you're right.
JR mentions about 4,565 times that Shamrock has thrived in a tournament environment before. Just in case you weren't aware that he's been in UFC tournaments. I tell you what, he's not been thrown in UFC tournaments. That god-awful Hurricane Rana that he did off the top rope.
Yeah.
It looked like it was 6 different stages.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Yeah, if he'd had his ruthless aggression era run, I would never have wanted to see him doing that. That would have just ruined everything. Yeah.
So basically, again, this is a 5-minute long match with Hurricane Rana. Goldust is down, sticks the ankle lock on, that's it. Yeah,
it's mostly all like there's a couple of counters by Goldust. Shamrock's the aggressor throughout most of the match. He has a couple of attempts at going for moves, and then he seems to decide he's going to go for the Shattered Dreams, and the refs are being like, well, that's going to be a DQ. The ref, I can't remember who the ref is, but when he's lining up for Shattered Dreams, so Shamrock's in the corner, exposed, not exposed, but yeah, and he goes to run towards as if he's going to do the kick, and the ref stands in front but puts his hands over
does he?
Yeah, I really like that. It was just one of these little things that I'm thinking, this poor wee ref, but he's thinking, I've got to take the hit, but I'm going to protect myself.
Class. I've never seen the ref get in the way of the Shattered Dreams before. That was a new one.
No.
The reffing, generally the reffing on this pay-per-view is questionable at best.
Yeah, there's definitely... certainly one significant thing that I'll need to mention a little bit later on.
I wonder if it involves
about the refereeing.
So that's Shamrock. Shamrock's through to the next round, and he will face the winner of the next match, which when I saw it on the tournament bracket, I was like, yes, we're going to get one of them. We've not really, because we missed out on SummerSlam 98, the classic Rock Triple H ladder match. Yeah, I couldn't wait. I could not wait. But before that, we get Michael Cole with an update on Steve Austin's medical status, and he tells us that Steve Austin is characteristically refusing medical help, and that was it. That was it. So then we go to our next match. Probably if you're looking at this bracket, you're thinking this is going to be the highlight this might be the pay-per-view highlight. The Rock versus Triple H.
I feel really bad because, like, obviously, this is just a year away from Brett getting screwed at Survivor Series, and I feel like you got screwed at this one.
Ross screwed Ross. That's what happened. I got my expectations. Classic WWF. They swerved me. What can you do? So we get The Rock coming out, and he's wildly over. Like, I think from recollection, round about that SummerSlam time, the classic Madison Square Garden Highway to Hell SummerSlam, I think the crowd opinion just seemed to switch on The Rock, and he just overnight became babyface, but he was still being the exact same as what he was like as a heel, which I really liked. All the arrogance is still there at this point. There's none of this sort of nice guy babyface Rock, which we talked about, like SummerSlam 2002. It's just all a bit bland and boring.
Yeah, this still really works. It just,
he's wildly over, and you can see that he's taken the step up to, like he's up there with Austin almost, sort of thing. Triple H's music hit, and Briscoe and Patterson come down crotch chopping, and they're having the time of their life. Are they not?
Yeah, and then I have to admit, I knew it wasn't going to be Triple H going into this, but I remember when his music hit, I was like, oh, I loved that music for Triple H. It was brilliant. I think there's been a couple of references as well that McMahon does not want Rock as champion either. Right. Rock and Austin are the two that he is not up for being his champion here, but there's nothing quite like seeing Briscoe and Patterson crotch chop. It's
up there with Mae Young crotch chopping.
And are you feeling up to doing
nothing for that?
No, I'm not selling it. Are you feeling up to doing a Briscoe Mr. McMahon impression? I think you've done one before.
No, I can't even remember what it says. It like Mr. McMahon.
That's it.
There you
go.
Yep. So they say, go on. They say that he's no showed.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like the whole segment here is a little bit weird. Briscoe said Mr. McMahon sent Triple H tickets. He was to be here, but he's no showed. I assume it meant flight tickets, not tickets to get into the building. That Mr. McMahon has told him he can fine Triple H. But the whole while JR's talking about the fact Triple H has got this injury, he was never going to be there. This wasn't a thing. So JR getting quite annoyed with the Stooges. Patterson says there will be no forfeit, and Vince McMahon has found a last-minute replacement. We're going to get a second slice of Big Boss Man.
Get used to that music. Here he comes again. And this is where it's kind of like watching The Sixth Sense for the second time, because Bossman comes out and gets rolled up in the small package, and it's over. And I think JR tells us later on it's a record for the fastest match ever.
Yeah, 5 seconds, I think. Is it four? Is it four? He says
4 seconds. And this is where, once you know what's happening, it's just genius.
Yeah,
we'll talk about the end, but it's genius. Yeah. And then there's more to come as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, The Rock progresses. He rolls him up and beats him in 4 seconds. So we've got the stages set. We've got our next round. So we've got Undertaker, Kane, Mankind, Al Snow, Shamrock be The Rock, and Stone Cold got a bye.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like we're just like match after match after match, but that's kind of what it's like, isn't it? It's really fast paced.
It is, which I think is the reason it kind of works. I can't remember when it was. There's a WCW tournament from way back that just seems so slow and plodding. And I think if you're doing this kind of thing in the one night, you have to be fast paced. You just have to keep going, and you probably do have to make most of the matches pretty short and sweet. Yeah, so I think they've done this the right way for what it is.
Yeah, and it's funny because we talked about King of the Ring 93 and we both loved it. And you do have longer matches, like Brett Perfect's like an absolute classic. But much more guys on the card here, and they're just sort of firing through them.
Yeah.
So we've got Undertaker, Kane, and obviously you've talked about what's all went on between them. Paul Bearer's back with the Undertaker, which was a little bit different because I expected him to be with Kane. I want to say last time we were watching in '98, it was with Kane.
Yeah, he'd had time with Kane, and then they'd aligned, and then I think they'd basically kind of screwed Kane, Undertaker, and Bearer. And I couldn't, just by the look and feel and the music and all that, this must be Ministry, Ministry of Darkness, just kind of starting up maybe here.
I like this version of Taker.
Yeah, so did I. I always felt like they maybe just didn't quite go the right way with it, but I feel like there was a really interesting character in there. But yeah, I was a little bit confused because I was thinking, okay, so if Undertaker and Kane aren't aligned here, does that mean Kane's a babyface? And I think he's kind of maybe transitioning a bit to that. But yeah, the not having watched, like, I didn't watch any like Raw before it or anything like that. I wasn't sure if we were properly into a big rivalry between Undertaker and Kane, or if this was just it, kind of just really starting to take flight.
Right. I want to say these two went at WrestleMania 14.
Okay.
Which was obviously earlier in this year.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then obviously they've been involved with a triple threat match with Austin, and then the next pay-per-view they went against each other. So they've probably had quite a lot of matches. That's what I felt when I watched this. I've seen them have better matches, but it's all part of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that I've got notes on. There's one point Undertaker goes for a figure four.
Yeah. And at this point, and I knew he ended up years later with did they call it Hell's Gate? He had a submission move.
Is this the origin for Hell's Gate?
Yeah, but I didn't ever remember him before that ever really putting any submission moves on. It was quite strange to see.
He's quite out of character.
Yeah.
There's a point where Kane used to do his clothesline off the top rope. He would do the big sort of diving thing. He walks to the rope and just leapfrogs over the rope.
Yeah, he's an agile guy for the size of him. Yeah.
It looked like Kane had this one. I want to say it's choke slammed Undertaker.
Yeah, I think that's just when they go for a choke slam together, and Kane kind of gets the better of that exchange.
That's right.
And he executes the choke slam, but at that point, Paul Bearer gets up on the turnbuckle just to distract Kane for long enough. Kane knocks him down quite quickly, but that's Undertaker up, and he's able to lift Kane into the tombstone from that point. I think I'm the same. Seen them definitely have better matches, but it's a tournament. It has to be fairly quick. It's a big man match. It was fine, I thought.
And Paul Bearer, as Kane's been pinned, Paul Bearer holds his leg down.
Yeah,
to get the 1, 2, 3. That makes all the difference.
Oh yeah. So Undertaker's going to face The Rock.
Oh, spoiler alert! Come on, we've still got Shamrock The Rock to go.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I put that in my notes. Why did I put it in my notes? I shouldn't have even known that was going to happen. They probably said he'll face the winner of Shamrock The Rock, and I thought, yeah.
So yeah, like you say, Taker through. He'll fight. Winner of Shamrock v Rock, and you just told everybody.
I'm sorry, everyone. Good thing it's not a watch along.
Mankind Al Snow is our next match, and this one's got a bit of an extra little bit to it. As what is it? I don't know the backstory, but you look like you do know the backstory. So,
are we talking here about Head and Mr.
Head
Socko?
and Socko,
Yeah. So when the match starts, we can see it in the last match, and we see it here. That Head is wearing Socko as a sweatband, and I don't know if it's ever been referenced at any point in the build-up, or if anything was shown at any point in the build-up. But as it turns out, this was done by Vince McMahon to try to get some sort of reaction from Mankind.
Yeah.
He basically wants him to. fly off the handle at Al Snow. So he'd maybe already figured out how these brackets were going to go. He maybe had absolutely no confidence in Jeff Jarrett, just thought Al Snow's going to beat him. He did know that Mankind was going to win his match against the mighty Dwayne Gill. But he's done this to get, I think, some rage from Mankind to help him get over the line and do what it took to win this match.
And it cuts to him again. Stooges and big slots, and Vince says, "Wait until Mick sees the sock on the head," or something like that, doesn't he? Yeah. Evil genius. I've got another quibble with the officiating here. Al Snow uses a chair here and doesn't even get disqualified.
Yep.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. What I wrote in my notes were Snow with 2 chair shots to the gut and swings at the head but misses and hits the post. Surely that should be a DQ, but the ref doesn't give a fuck. Vince surely would want a DQ here so that Mankind's through nice and easily. I wonder if it being maybe the era we're heading towards, these rules don't really matter. They're not a thing.
It's much more entertaining to see people get cracked in the cranium. There's a good bit where Mankind discovers Head sitting in the corner there, and he sees that Mr. Socko is... I don't know if it's Mr. Socko at this point, just Socko tied around
it might just be
Head's head. And instead of attacking Al Snow, he attacks... By God, he's attacking that wooden head. It's not wooden. He attacks... He's given Mr. Head, he's given Head some straight punches. He's going at him.
Yeah. I did right. I thought it was quite entertaining seeing him attacking the Head. But yeah. And then I thought, oh, well, Al Snow's going to capitalise here on the distraction, and that's Vince's plan. Screwed. This wasn't what he intended at all. But there was a power bomb, but Mankind kicked out too. And we go to, I think it's the finish sequence.
Yeah.
Double arm DDT, then puts on Mr. Socko. Mandible claw for the submission win for Mankind. And I can say the next one, that's fine. He will go on to face Austin in the semi-finals.
Yeah. And they'll be happy campers. Or will they? I think they will, because I think they'll be expecting Austin still to be injured from the boss man's attack and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Next match is a matchup that we liked when we were watching through some of these earlier pay-per-views. I think Royal Rumble and WrestleMania this year.
Yeah.
They had 2 quality matches, and they both had great finishes in them from what I can remember as well. There was the Brass Knucks one, and there was another sort of ingenious finish, but I can't remember what. Can you?
Yeah, there was. Oh, that's going to annoy me now. It's the Brass Knucks one that's in my head, but yeah, there was another with... Was it that Shamrock just wouldn't release his submission and the ref overturned the decision?
Possibly, aye.
Yeah, I think that was it. I think he wouldn't release the ankle lock after he'd been declared winner.
Aye, and they reversed it, like you say. Aye, that's right. So we get Shamrock v The Rock. I've probably written what I write every time we've watched these two. These two have great chemistry. These two are great together. They just seem to... that way where they flow off the ropes and all that, it just goes, just flows lovely.
Yeah.
Rock takes a hard shoulder into the stairs on the outside, and they get into the ring. Shamrock sticks on a sleeper, and I was like, oh, they're really slowing this down. It's the first match to sort of slow things down. It becomes apparent why that is. The boss man comes wandering out, gives a wee tap 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 on the ring steps. And Shamrock is watching him like a dog. He walks right round the ring, and Shamrock follows him almost the whole way around.
It's a funny one because the story that he is there to help Shamrock, but he does not look like he's happy with the situation, Shamrock, at all.
Nah.
It's quite a there's quite a few decent segments. I mean, this isn't one of their very, very good matches between the two, but they have a few okay interactions. But I don't know at what point Bossman comes down. It all felt like it happened quite quickly again, but I've got it in my head this is maybe a little bit of a longer match than quite a few of the others that have been before. Might not be long.
This is at 8 minutes, so
Okay.
we're looking at Iron Man as far as this pay-per-view is concerned. There's some
We've got
interesting stuff. Sorry, go on.
we've got Shamrock getting the ankle lock on, and I don't know why, right? But it felt like seeing that run. Obviously, The Rock, the previous run for over the Intercontinental Belt, The Rock was the heel and he was in the Nation and all that. But I felt like he was maybe always a little bit, we talked about the finishes, but always kind of lucky to escape and just gets out of there alive and all that. But I thought this time, I assume it's because he's elevated and he seems elevated. He got a lot of offense in this match, and they had him not tap out of the ankle lock, because when it's on, he gets to the ropes to break it. And I liked Shamrock's reaction, actually. He's screaming no when The Rock has got there to the ropes. He can't believe that he didn't make him tap out with it. But yeah, I think it probably is just a reflection of where The Rock is now compared to where he was then, that they've made him look strong in this match, even though there's a little bit of a fluff finish coming up.
I expected, when he got him in the ankle lock, I expected shenanigans with the boss man. But it didn't come, and like you say, he got to the ropes. He sort of turns things around and he gets a bit of momentum going. He hits, don't know what version of the elbow, people's elbow.
Yeah.
At this point, Shamrock kicks out at like 2 3/4, and I was stunned. I thought that might have been it as well. That was enough to put away CM Punk when he was a champion, but no Shamrock.
Yeah.
He does, of course, have experience of tournament environment, so it could be that.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we get an amazing finish. Like, again, going back to this whole genius game plan, deadly game plan, you might say, Adam. This is so good. This was a brilliant finish.
It's so well done, because there's a lot could have gone wrong here.
Aye.
So the boss man gets up on the apron, and the ref goes to him, and the boss man is going to throw the nightstick, attempting to throw it to Shamrock to get the match done, eliminate The Rock. The Rock catches it. Now, the throw could have been off. There's all kinds of things could have gone wrong here, but it worked perfectly, because it actually looked like he threw it intending for Shamrock, and The Rock just managed to reach out and grab it. Yeah.
He just pops up in between them and just grabs it almost right at the last minute. That's brilliant. Like you say, I feel like everybody involved just did it perfectly. They must have practiced that, because it's so good.
So it intercepts it. The only thing that I had issue with in the whole bit was The Rock, when he throws the nightstick away, throws it right past the ref. Like, just right past him. Now, the ref is facing the other way, but he's down to see this nightstick just flying past him out of nowhere. Turns around and Shamrock's KO'd. But yeah, it was the only thing. I thought there's 3 other sides of the ring he could have just thrown that out of, and it would have just played that element a little bit better. But apart from that, it was just so well done.
Oh, it's class. So The Rock gets the win, and he'll go on to face The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And we know that he's facing Undertaker because Paul Bearer cuts an incredibly weird promo with Michael Cole about the only rock the Undertaker liking is granite tombstones or something.
Yeah, it was weird. And then, he's just screaming that the Undertaker will walk out as champion. It didn't do much for me.
No, it was a bit of time filler.
Yeah.
So we get our first championship match on the card, our first non-tournament match, and that's the aforementioned women's title match between Sable and Jacqueline. Shane O'Mac is reffing this. He's been demoted to being a lowly referee by his dad after screwing the pooch and giving Austin this 5-year contract. Yeah. I mean, the thing that I did like about this, that makes it sound like there's no much to have liked, which is accurate. But the thing I liked is they're having a wrestling match. Like it's not a bikini contest or whatever.
Yeah, true.
I think Jacqueline came up in the territories. I actually meant to go and look into her background, because I think she's quite well respected as far as women wrestlers go. And I think she gets a lot of credit for getting a half-decent match out of Sable. here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. I've heard people talk about it before, and maybe she wasn't maybe the happiest to be doing it, but she was very professional, did the job, and put the person over that needed to be put over. There's what did you make of Sable hitting the Sable bomb, I suppose, on Mero on the floor?
No, that looked terrifying. That was like Nash powerbombing Big Show.
I was watching it thinking, this is that is such a dangerous thing to do. I assume they are together at this point.
I think so.
Yeah. Scary stuff.
It's like as soon as she starts putting the move in motion, there's no stopping it. You have to go all the way through it. It's just, it's quite crazy to see.
Yeah.
What do you think Mark Mero's thinking when Russo pulls him aside and tells him, and probably no Russo actually, it'd be like whoever the agent is or whatever, but tells him that that's what's happening in the match?
Yeah, I mean, I bet you're thinking, I wish I'd never invited her along to that intro meeting. Just you just stay at home. I'll be back in a few days.
Class. So, yeah, like you've mentioned there, Mark Mero's with Jacqueline, him and Sable. I assume they've carried on this whole storyline of her taking the limelight away from him. He's back in Jacqueline, and he starts getting involved in the match. She slips out, kicks him in the nuts, and power bombs him on the outside. But does it all come back to? No, I can't remember who wins. I've not got who wins this match.
Sable wins. So,
does she?
Yeah, you've got Jacqueline tries a tornado DDT. Sable counters by just kind of throwing her halfway across the ring. And then Sable hits the Sable bomb to win the bell. The end sequence puts her over strong. And when Jacqueline's going for that DDT and Sable throws her, I mean, no doubt there was a lot of work done in that sequence by Jacqueline because she goes flying, which makes Sable look very strong. But yeah, I mean, they obviously wanted to put the title on her, and she was, pretty central to their TV programming at the time. So yeah, I think it's her first title win there.
Right. I've not got who won the match, but I have got that this is JR's second mention of Catch as Catch Can.
Wow.
This isn't going to be your Catch as Catch Can match, folks. So Sable wins. Sable is the new women's WWF champion.
Yeah.
And, if we could have it all back, I'm sure we would follow her illustrious reign as women's champion on this podcast. Could be something for us to think about, Adam.
Yeah, that would be your pick, I think.
Okay. For the men who want to see me and I can't remember. What's that? What's she say? This is for the women who want to be me?
The men who came to see... The women who want to be me and the men who came to see me. That's
there
it.
You go. The grind.
Yeah.
Sable's voice is...
Yeah.
Not good.
Not the easiest.
Anyway. Semi-final.
Here we
Semi-final
go.
time. Can you believe we're here already?
Shit's getting real.
We've got the corporate pick, Mankind, and he's still in his tuxedo because all he's had is that 2-second run out against Dwayne Gill, against a clearly injured Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's favouring his ribs, I think.
He's got an arm just kind of hanging, and they speculate. I think there's maybe a few injuries on the go there after that horrendous nightstick attack.
But that doesn't. It is indeed, and that's, I'm sure, exactly how JR sold it as well. But this doesn't stop him. We all know what Austin's like. He goes straight down the middle and straight for Mankind, straight into brawling. We're pretty much, within a minute of the match starting, and Vince and all his buddies come out to ringside.
Yeah, it happened quick. Yeah.
They end up... this is a great bit. Austin almost hits the stunner. Mankind hits the deck and sprints Olympic 100-meter style from the ring all the way up the up the thing.
Yep, up the ramp.
I've seen this before. He's just flying.
Yep. But I think
he's in bare feet as well.
At that point, At that point, the Stooges are trying to talk him out of just walking out and quitting the match, because basically that obviously puts Austin into the finals. And now Austin just walks up the ramp and starts taking out the Stooges, and goes to pile drive Mankind on the ramp, but Mankind backdrops him. But yeah, because you're not even used to seeing Mankind move at that kind of speed at any point. He's not that kind of character. It was quite funny.
It's funny, especially when Austin's pissed off, pulling off his jacket, his cummerbund or whatever you want to call it, and he rips off his shoes and all that. So he's flying up there in bare feet. It's funny. Mm-hmm. And Austin, like you say, Austin takes his classic backdrop onto the concrete, which I hate seeing. Mankind, we eventually end up in the ring. Mankind's got him in a sort of Cobra Clutch type manoeuvre, and Big Slots is just berating Austin at ringside, telling him to quit. I wondered if he would like proper invested because it was the Camel Clutch. Maybe,
yeah. I never thought about that at the time.
Where do we go? I've got from there that Austin's kind of forgot about selling these ribs. But it's probably just adrenaline, Adam. That's all it can be.
Yeah, it's kicked in. Yeah.
Foley grabs a chair. Austin kicks it in his face. Double arm DDT onto the chair, but Austin kicks out.
Yep.
And then, like, this is where this just completely goes to shit. Austin hits his stunner, and Mike Chioda's counting the 1, 2, 3, and Vince dives out his wheelchair and just grabs Mike Chioda and launches him out the ring.
Yeah, there's something not right as well about the way that all happens. Like the ref's maybe in the wrong position or something. There's something looks wrong with the way that all happened.
Yeah, it really does. So this is where this bit, I really like this part of it. Austin hits a stunner again. There's no ref, and out of nowhere, we've got our knight in shining black and white. Shane McMahon comes flying down and slipping into the ring. 1, 2, he stops. It's like everything that Shane does, it's so exaggerated. 1, 2, and then the double fingers. He's so happy with himself, giving Austin the double fingers.
I did like his, because his reactions are always going to be over the top, and he's so like the way he even pauses before he delivers the fingers, like he wants to make sure Austin's looking at him and all that, and then he does the fingers and he's got this massive smile, and then all of a sudden he realizes that there's just a very angry Austin there, and he's not going to be able to get away.
so again, this is quite a funny bit. He covers away at the corner, and Austin sort of half-arsed plods over after him. He's shouting, and Austin turns round expecting to be attacked. And what apparently happened was the boss man was supposed to be out here. Do you know this? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I heard it on the podcast. Yeah.
Boss man was supposed to be out here assaulting Austin, so Austin's turned around expecting to get hit with a nightstick. Apparently, boss man's in the back getting told his what's the next steps for him for. I think it must be for the final. Yeah, it must be. Or for Undertaker versus Rock. Yes, it is. It's for Undertaker versus Rock, which is the next match. Cause I'm only noticing that because I've got, for fuck's sake, here comes the boss man again. So he's not there. So they improvise, and Briscoe hits this god-awful Hulk Hogan-esque chair shot that looks like it wouldn't rock your granny.
I think they say on that podcast that it's basically he's looking, thinking, I've got to hit, the guy that's raking in all this money for us. I know I can't hurt him. I cannot hurt him. But he goes far too gentle on the chair shot.
A wee love tap. And then that's it. Shane counts to 3. Mankind pins him. Shane counts to 3, and they all hightail it. Is it at this point that they hightail it out the building?
Yeah. They all go to the back, and I think they get in a limo and drive off, and then Austin basically just steals a car to chase after
Grand Theft Auto some guy out the car and goes after them. How many times have you seen Austin doing that? So that's Austin screwed. He's out the tournament. and Mankind is off to the final. And we think that that's Vince and crew done for the night as well.
Yeah.
So, next semi-final. Undertaker versus Rock. Let's have a look and see how long this one went. Because this felt like it went a little bit, 8 minutes. Again, another long one. You want to talk through this one, this semi-final?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So yeah, I've got immediately the fight breaks to the outside after a little bit of back and forth. Taker hitting a big clothesline. They eventually get back in the ring with Taker in full control. But the Rock counters with a boot, but Taker again quickly back on top. Felt like he was on top for quite a bit of this match. The Rock seems to do one of these Andre the Giant classic, gets his arms caught in the ropes, but I don't know quite how caught they ever really were.
Yep.
And he certainly made sure that they looked caught in the first instance. But yeah, so he's basically defenseless, tied up in the ropes. And Taker's taking some advantage of that. But as Taker then runs in, the Rock's untangled himself and backdrops Undertaker to the floor. The fight on the outside for a bit and into the crowd. I've got Taker charges the corner, but Rock moves. They exchange punches. I'm assuming they're back in the ring at this point. Rock hits Taker with a Samoan drop.
I like
classic
that.
Staple. Yeah. And then we've got your favourite Boss Man coming down to ringside. Did that one not annoy you more than the Deadly Game theme?
No, I like Boss Man's music.
Okay. Even when you hear it 4 times in a night. It's a bit like the old NWO shows, the WCW and the NWO era. So The Rock hits a DDT, and then I've got hits a low blow and berates the Boss Man. The Rock goes for the people's elbow, but Boss Man grabs his leg as he's coming off the ropes, and Undertaker gets a chance to sit up. Undertaker takes advantage, but then he nails the Boss Man. Undertaker just takes out the Boss Man.
Yeah, thank God somebody did.
The Rock hits a clothesline, stands over Taker, but then Taker just grabs him by the throat. And then we've got Kane coming down.
It kind of feels like Kane sort of teleports in for somewhere. He seems to be suddenly in the ring.
Yeah. I don't know how much of him actually arriving. You see, he's basically just getting in the ring, first point you see him. And then he chokeslams the Rock. So that is going to be a disqualification for Undertaker. It was obviously intentional by Kane. Eliminate Undertaker from the tournament, and then Kane and the Undertaker start fighting. They fight to the outside. It felt like that was going on a wee while actually, with the camera following them fighting. So I'm assuming they are sort of continuing their way into a program between each other, as they very often did. So yeah, it's going to be The Rock going into the final against Mankind.
Tremendous. We get a little very quick interview with Mankind, with Michael Cole. He seems to think that Lady Luck is shining down on him if you smell what the sock is cooking. He's still just playing this sort of simple, gullible. Oh.
Yeah, he says he's just got one more rock left to climb.
Nice. And then we get... Now, last time we did a pay-per-view, we had a triple threat tag team match. And... I wouldn't have said it was a drizzling shits, but I would say that this triple threat tag team match was a drizzling shits. This was a breather for the fans, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, God. This was really bad.
It wasn't good. Do you know how long it lasted? Too long, but...
10 minutes. So we've got the tag champions, the New Age Outlaws, I think, they defending.
Yeah.
Against the Headbangers, Thrasher and Mosh, and D-Lo and Mark Henry. I really have initially. I like the Outlaws. I like D-Lo and Mark Henry. I mean, I don't love the Headbangers, but
yeah, you would look at this and expect it to be better than it is. I did notice Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, their intros still very over here. I don't know how long they've actually been going with it at this point, but
Yeah.
it's getting a good reaction here. And we see that there was, I don't know, on Heat, a backstage brawl between all of them.
All right, okay. Nice.
Yeah. And then we hear something about Mark Henry having filed a sexual harassment lawsuit against China.
China, yep.
Yep. D'Lo's rocking his chest protector here.
Nice.
I was a big fan. I was a fan of that story and that gimmick. We hear something. I wish I'd seen the point at which this happened, because I have memories of it being explained why this existed. For this type of match, there's something called the Outlaw rule in effect, meaning partners cannot pin partners. So I assume at a point that Road Dogg or Billy Gunn have pinned each other to win a match, which seems
That's
a
cool.
bit different. Yeah. So yeah, that will not be permitted in this match.
But you can. No, you can't tag. I was going to say, but you can tag your own partner, obviously. But two men seem to be allowed to be in the match at the same time. Like both partners could be the legal men or something like that. Really confusing.
Yeah. So I was getting confused early on, because I was thinking, right, are 3 men to be in the ring at all times? And then I was thinking, right, so does it have to be one from each team? And I didn't feel like we were getting enough information, really. But it just, I don't know, maybe they just thought it's a shit show anyway, so it's fine. Yeah, this just didn't work.
It's no good. There's a point where there's genuinely about 5 people in the ring, and Mark Henry goes for a bear hug. Your genius ring IQ from Mark Henry, going for a submission move where there's about 20 other guys that could break it up.
Road Dogg is in this match for a hell of a long time.
Yeah, he takes a beating the whole thing.
Yeah, he takes a beating the entire match, and regardless of who else is in there, he's in there and he's taking punishment. But it's just that's the only real element of any kind of story that's being told in the match. There's kind of nothing else.
Can I tell you what I've got for the finish?
What have you got?
Billy Gunn, pile drivers, beaver cleavage, and it's all over.
Okay. Yeah.
I always want to call one of them Chaz. Was one of them Chaz? Like later on? Was Mosh?
Oh, maybe.
Chaz. He was a beaver cleavage guy, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think that might be right. So in here, they were Mosh and Thrasher, yeah?
I'm sure one of them was called... Anyway.
Yeah, someone was called Chaz.
Beaver cleavage. I just like saying beaver cleavage.
That's become clear over the last minute or so.
So, with that over and done with, we've got our main event, our tournament final. We're finally going to get a new WWF champion. I want to say it's a new belt, but maybe the Smoking Skull belt, the one that they previously were going, which was always cool. And you'll have seen that when Austin does these Smoking Skull sessions.
Yeah.
So we've got
new
Winged Eagle guy. Sorry, go on.
Were you a wee bit emotional at the start here, because we get some backstage footage? Vince and Shane, they're still here, but they're kind of wishing the boss man well. Job well done. He's away for now. It seems like he's screwed up a hell of a lot, but he's away for the night. He's done. We're not going to see him again. It's over.
I mean, it's a job well done. As far as it is a job well done.
Austin's not in the final, so yeah.
And for the 2 finishes of The Rock, he's played his part perfectly.
Yeah. Yep. That's
well
true.
Played the boss man. I wonder if he's been like triple paid.
Yeah.
That night at work. Anyway, Mankind versus The Rock. And these two have got a hell of a history. I wonder if this is early on, or this is, of course, before their Rumble match, 99, halftime heat, all those sort of crazy matches. But this is a good one. This is a good one, although obviously the finish leaves a lot to be desired. 17 minutes to go.
Yeah, it's a bit more paced than the other matches. You know, I think I could tell quite early on it was going to be a bit longer. They're both a little bit cautious early on, but in a believable, logical way. And yeah, I was obviously you're waiting for Vince and Shane making their appearance, which I think does again happen quite early
doors.
Yeah. But yeah, these two are another pair who they tend to have pretty good matches from memory.
Oh, it basically involves The Rock, straight up assaulting Mick Foley quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like when he tries, when Foley goes to hit him with the stairs, and The Rock just rattles the stairs with a chair multiple times.
Yeah.
Mankind gets back body dropped from the crowd back over the barrier.
There's a nasty chair shot to Mankind's head by The Rock, which we've talked about on other podcasts before. Some of the chair shots to the head.
Is there? I don't remember that in this match, but that's hardly surprising.
It's the noise it made. I was a bit like, yeah, it's just a talking to from Errol Hebner. He's not going to disqualify him here.
And I think JR at this point mentions the referee's going to let things go a little bit longer because this is the final. So I don't know what their excuses is for the other matches. But
yeah.
I've got here that Mankind hits a leg drop on the commentary table. I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, I do have a few more notes about some of the moves. Leg drop on the announce desk, covers for a 2. Back drops The Rock over the top rope to the floor. We've got a Rock hitting a nice DDT, kind of out of nowhere. Mankind
is this when it goes like all the way round the back of him?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that move. Brilliant, that.
Yeah, I think we've got Mankind going through the announce desk off the top turnbuckle. The Rock moving off when he's going to drop an elbow on him. We've got double arm DDT by Mankind. And I suppose if you're watching this without any awareness of what's coming, or what's going to happen at the finale, I always lose the logic a little bit with how does Vince know when he has a favoured horse here that guy is going to kick out of that move, but not this move, that kind of thing. We've got Mankind putting on Mr. Socko and locks in the mandible claw. And the classic 3-arm raise thing, which don't think you see all that often these days. Rock
I know what you mean.
Ref raises the arm 3 times, see if the guy's out. Just holds it on the 3rd time. Rock breaking out and hitting a rock bottom. But it takes him a wee while before he can get the cover on as he's recovering himself. So it's a 2. And then right into the finale.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think this is cheap? So
in a way,
let's talk about what happened. So the Rock looks at McMahon, raises the eyebrow, sticks the sharpshooter on, and Vince does the whole Montreal ring the bell, damn it. And people, you get the genuine feeling that people don't understand what's going on. Like people are excited that the Rock's won. It's almost like Vince has turned face for a little second.
Yeah, it takes a wee while. I think with 1 year on, the actual finish, the calling for the bell, off the sharpshooter, all that feels quite cheap. I get the screwing Mankind for the storyline and having The Rock be the winner. Did it have to be a sharpshooter? It's just that kind of thing. Could he have screwed him in a different way and had The Rock win with a pin? It could have been totally different. But I think Vince would have thoroughly enjoyed mapping out this way, to be honest, especially with relations the way they would have been at this time still, I would have thought. Yeah.
And I think it's a bit like, when Bobby the Brain Heenan says, but whose side is he on? I think when they're coming out, JR says something like, we don't want any Montreal, repeats in Montreal or something like that. So
he does.
Probably the case where he doesn't know the finish.
Yeah, I did wonder about that when I heard it, because I know, a lot of the time, and you've heard announcers say beforehand, I don't want to know the finish and things like that. But I know JR at various times had other roles as well as just being an announcer. So I was thinking it's possible he could have known, but then I don't think he would have said it if he had known.
Aye, I think so as well. So, like we're saying there, it takes a little bit of time to realise what's happened. You get Vince and the Rock embracing, and Shane's in there dancing about, enjoying himself. And Vince grabs the mic and says that the people screwed the people, which is just like you say, it's kind of like him rubbing salt in the wound sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that the people are all as gullible as mankind.
Yeah. And Mankind, like I mentioned earlier, had been a bit sympathetic all the way through the show anyway, in the sense that you never really blame him. And this does, and this does make him feel. I came out of it feeling sorry for him. I think it's at this point where he calls him Dad or something like that. I just don't understand what happened because I wasn't pinned and I didn't submit. He's confused, and then the Rock attacks poor Mankind from behind, and Rock Bottom takes him down. And I think that's Shane announcing that the McMahon family is proud to present the corporate champion, The Rock. I like the story. I do like the story.
It's good.
And just some of the maybe slightly unnecessary digs, but I like the story. And you've got The Rock and Austin getting so over as baby faces, I do see the logic of having to do something with one of your two biggest stars to allow them to oppose each other in a face v heel manner.
And you're not going to turn Austin heel, and The Rock just plays heel, just amazing.
Yeah.
The Glass and Austin comes back. We think that he's disappeared, but he's not. He's back. He attacks him, and The Rock go toe to toe. I think Austin hits a stunner, throws him out the ring.
Yeah, he does.
And just for good measure, Mankind gets a stunner as well. That poor bastard.
Yeah, I know. I suppose it's you screwed me with him in the last match, so you get what you deserve. But it's almost, I suppose, like the Hogan must pose of its day is Austin with the stunners and standing tall in the ring at the end.
Finishing off the pay-per-view. I remember when I used to record them and then try and watch the last match before going to school in the morning. And if you go too far forward, you would get who's standing with the belt at the end. If I'd put that on, I would have thought that Austin won that whole tournament. I'd have been in for a shock.
Brilliant.
But that wraps pay-per-view, and we spoke about it before. If you look back on it, you look at what happened with The Rock going through the tournament and how he has been aligned with McMahon and Bossman and all that. It's genius.
Yeah. It's very well done. It's very cleverly done. The story's well told, because so many things that you might think early on, would be a plot hole, can be answered by the fact, they wanted Rock to win all along. So even say the nightstick throw had gone wrong or something like that, and it had been obvious that it went to The Rock, be like, here's your finish. They wanted him to win all along. Could have acted annoyed, but it was deliberate all along. The only thing I wondered about was, if you've got Vince and clearly Shane involved in this plan all along, do you think Bossman knew? Do you think he was part of the brain trust that were aware of who their guy was to win all along? That's happy to get pinned in 4 seconds?
That's a good question.
But in the end, it doesn't matter, because you could pick either answer and it's still kind of workable within the story. I liked how they did it. It's not, you mentioned earlier, you're not going to get your 5-star matches here. It's not that type of show. It's a storyline show. It gets you where they want to be and where they need to be. It did it in an entertaining way.
Yep.
I would say matches are fast paced. The show felt quite fast paced for one with so many matches on it. So it was good fun. Not a classic pay per view, but it was pretty good.
I agree. And how did it feel? Obviously, you said this is one of your favourite pay-per-views, I think, or you held it in sort of high regard in a look in a nostalgia way.
Yeah.
How was it watching?
I still enjoyed it, but I worry it's got that slight I don't know, Usual Suspects feel to it, where once you know the twist, it's never going to quite be the same again.
Yeah.
But still entertaining.
Yeah, definitely was. I enjoyed it. It's a good pick. So. It's me up, isn't it?
Yeah. What's next?
So, will I talk you through my thought process, or will I just tell you? Because I think I've chose from between like 6 different pay-per-views.
I don't think you should tell me what the 6 are, because it might influence a future pick.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So, I'm going to go to a year that we've not been to yet.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to May of 2000. That is WWF Judgment Day 2000. And just because we got screwed out of Rock Triple H, I'm going to go Judgment Day 2000, which has got a Rock Triple H Iron Man match. Special guest referee Shawn Michaels.
Oh, nice.
I'll tell you the rest of the card.
Yep, go for it.
Rikishi and Too Cool versus Christian, Edge and Kurt Angle.
Oh, nice.
Who were quite good comedy, the 3 of them together.
Yeah.
Triple threat European title match, Guerrero versus Saturn versus Malenko.
Okay.
And no holds barred falls count anywhere match, Shane McMahon versus The Big Show.
Oh my.
Just sounds like an opportunity for Shane to like fall off of things. A submission match for the Intercontinental title, Benoit versus Jericho.
Nice.
The Dudleys DX, which is the Road Dogg and X-Pac.
Nice.
Iron Man match, Rock v Triple H for the title. Michaels guest.
That sounds good. I am looking forward to that. It's one of these shows. I will definitely have seen it. It doesn't immediately spring back to mind, so I think it'll be fun to go back and watch again.
Nice, cool. Well, I'll not divulge any of my other picks. I will tell you one, because I'm probably not going to pick it, because this is definitely a nostalgia. Thinking that it was miles better than I guarantee it'd be shit if we watched it. Royal Rumble 1999. I was thinking about picking with the whole. This was the No Chance in Hell Royal Rumble, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure that's right. Yeah,
Rock Mankind with the Beyond the Mat.
Yeah,
the headshots.
Oh, that would have been hard to watch, to be honest.
I genuinely don't know if I could watch that now.
Yeah. But this is a good one, though. I'm enthusiastic for this. This will be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, if you of life, please let us know if you enjoyed Vince Russo's 1998 tournament on Instagram at Outlaws Pod. And until the next time when we talk about Judgment Day, Adam, you take it easy.
You too. Thank you.
And I shall see you soon.
Cheers.